Wake the fuck up!
Did you like the natural intro last time where I just kind of like started recording and whatever we got, we got?
Yeah, that was nice.
That's good because I just did it again.
I've been pranked. Bamboozled even.
I got you. We're here second week. Man, it was pretty insane to see it on Spotify. I remembered you were talking about you were going to look into seeing if you could get it up on Spotify. I was like, well, they probably got like you have to have so many ready or whatever. And then I looked. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I was like, oh my God, it's on there.
Yes, sir. They let any motherfucker with a computer on there tell you what.
That was pretty cool. So that was up Monday. And then I was slow on the uptake. I probably should have had YouTube, but I kind of like the delayed thing. So then it's like a premium thing. If you have Spotify, it's like we're going to have it on Spotify.
We can just do them both at the same day.
Yeah, we could. It was just, I was behind on the take up on it. But
it was that I was ahead because we were on Wednesday morning was our agreed day. And then
I just didn't even think to look. But yeah, we can do Mondays now. We'll shoot for Mondays on both. We've got
hold on a minute, playa. we're doing Wednesdays.
You want to do Wednesdays? You're gonna push
because that gives us a couple days. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll push the Spotify back. Okay, so Wednesdays we'll have it every day. We just had Monday for that Spotify first drop because that's just kind of how it all worked out, I guess. But okay, we'll plan on Wednesdays. But yeah, it was really cool to see it on Spotify. Well, I suppose, can you put the YouTube link in the Spotify channel?
Sure can.
And then if you go to the YouTube, I've also got the Spotify link there. So just wherever you'd rather listen to it. Or, I mean, you can go to Spotify and search Stuck at the Kids Table. It was like the first really thing that popped up for me.
I can't believe we were the first to the name.
I know. So
I thought we would be like the fifth podcast with that name, to be quite honest with you.
So obviously it's we've got our logo. It'll be for the YouTube channel and for the Spotify. You're just always looking for Stuck at the Kids Table, the little fading blue to white background, and we've got the little pink kids table. The kind of story behind the channel is that growing up on our dad's side, there was literally like we have one cousin on that side, so there's like 5 of us. And we always wanted to sit at the adults table because there's the adults table and then there's the kids table, which essentially looked like our logo, but it was brown and it was wooden and terrible. And we had
not much like our logo.
Well, yeah,
actually.
But like we had to sit there until we were like, oh gosh, how old? We had to have been like middle school.
We were teenagers.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because they were always like, "There's not room at the table." Our parents said that. None of our other family members, mostly our mom. So and then it was like, no, there's plenty of room. There's like, so there's 5 cousins, mom, dad, 2 uncles, an aunt. I got off.
You're
on
doing a lot of
calculations. Yeah.
For no reason.
Okay, but there was plenty of room at the tables. There was more than enough room at the inn, and they just wouldn't let us sit there. So we were just constantly like stuck at the kids' table, and then. We had our first run of it. That was terrible. But now we've got our consistent day of recording. We've got more. Well, I guess yours isn't 100% consistent. Did I say that right? Consistent?
Yeah, you said consistent, right?
And then I've got a consistent schedule too. So we're able to record it on Mondays, and then we've got that leeway with Wednesday, where if we do have to get off, obviously we can record it and edit and everything. But. So yeah, all that long-winded, like 5-minute long intro just to say Wednesdays. Check out for us on YouTube and Spotify, Stuck at the Kids Table. All you gotta search, look for our logo, and just give it a listen.
Exactly. Tell all your friends. Make it a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, we're not gonna pay or anything. You could be paid and like that's your good deed for the week.
No, you can the benefit is that you get to be your own boss and work from your phone.
Stop trying to
Just
sell
like
that.
every other pyramid scheme. We're just like that.
I feel dirty calling it a pyramid scheme. I don't like that. But I mean it's essentially what it is, so we'll go with that.
All right.
When do you think you'll know that we make it?
Know that we made it?
Yeah, we hit it big. If we do, I guess I should say.
It's a win. It's a win. And that'll be when we can pay people to do the hard stuff for us.
That's exactly what I didn't think you were gonna say that, but that's exactly what I was gonna say is when I'm not editing and uploading and everything, and when you don't have to like wait for me to send you a file to upload to spot. Yeah. That's when I'm not. Wow, I didn't know if we'd be on the same page with that, but we
are.
Yeah, cool. Well, I was going through Twitter as I do just consistently throughout the day. I've got way too much phone time. Whenever I look at that like weekly report, it seems worse and worse. But to make myself feel better, I'll look at my work phone, and it'll say your usage was down 33% for 2 minutes this week.
I'm gonna guess it's probably worse to not have much screen time on your work phone.
Well, I mean, all I do for it is clock in. That's like they have me clock in and out on it. But anyways, I'm consistently on social media on my phone. Usually Twitter, just trying to see what's hot right now, Black Friday stuff, and also Spider-Man was big today. I was looking at yesterday. They had like a teaser poster that had a bunch of people on. I actually think it's been out for a little bit, but I didn't really like analyze it really hardcore. But I looked, and everybody thinks there's like 5 billion different people in it, and the 100% like people that I saw on it were Doc Ock, obviously is on it, Spider-Man because it's Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man. I should probably make sure I say that. Then if you zoom in, there's Green Goblin on it. So those are like the three for sure. I'm pretty sure Jamie Foxx like has a contract and everything, so I'm assuming Electro is in it. But then I also saw, I was looking at that poster and then I read the, what was it? What they had written underneath it, because it was from Marvel Studios, and it said that there's a trailer coming tomorrow. So what I really, really wanted to get your opinion on about it is, in your opinion, do they have to show, I shouldn't say everybody, but the heavy hitters that are going to be in the movie? Like the villains and heroes. Like, do they need to have everybody in that tomorrow?
Listen, there's nothing they need to do. People are going to go see this movie. Like,
right.
They can like make this mystery about it all they want, but people already have their expectations. It's too late to temper these. That's why I'm glad you put this in, because I don't know if this is a hot take, but I just want this movie to fucking come out already.
I know.
Maybe it's just the corner of Twitter that I have on my little explore tab that you doom scroll through most of your day. But like all it is people speculating like, dude, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield like have to be in it. Or like, dude, if they're in it, like this movie's gonna be so bad, there's gonna be too much. And it's like, I want it to be over.
Yeah. I'm in that boat too. Because it's all like, I don't like all the rumors and stuff that happen. People overanalyze and then they say stuff that's like not gonna happen. Like there was some picture of something that everybody on the cast signed like however many months ago, and everybody was like zooming in and analyzing it, and they're like, well, if you look at this, we can see 2 C's, so it's got to be Charlie Cox, which means that Daredevil is in the movie. And I was like, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the trailer tomorrow, and I'm going to take it at face value. If Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and the guy who plays Sandman, I don't know the actor's name, or like any of these villains that they're speculating aren't in this trailer tomorrow, I'm going to take it at face value and say, okay, they're not in the movie. But
yeah, I don't know if that necessarily will be true, but I don't know at the same time. It's so weird how they're marketing this. It all seems so last second.
Yeah, that's what I don't know if it's last second as much as it is like just keeping people on the edge of their seats. Like, I don't think they're scrambling to be like, oh shit, we didn't put this stuff together. Oh, throw some fucking thing with Doc Ock on top of a thing saying hello Peter and all this stuff.
Yeah, fair
but
enough.
I think they're like, we're gonna wait until 1 week before the movie and we're gonna show a teaser with another Spider-Man, but we're not gonna show the face of it, just the body of a guy standing across from Tom Holland's Spider-Man, so they don't know who it is. And like, they're just trying to have all this mystery about that. And I can appreciate it, I guess, because that's going to draw more people. But at the same time, like you were talking about, now there is a split group of people who are going to love the movie if all three Spider-Men are in it, and they're going to hate it if they're not. Or the opposite, where people are going to think it's too cluttered if there's all three Spider-Men and they're going to hate it. But if it's just Tom Holland and these extra villains, they'll love it. But
yeah, I also think like this is it's almost like a generational thing. Does that make sense?
Explain.
Because like, well, I personally, maybe it's not even generations, but like, I don't have like any nostalgia at all for the other Spider-Man movies. Like I don't even remember like a thing about them.
Really?
I know the cringy scene from Spider-Man 3. Like I remember seeing Amazing Spider-Man 2 in theaters and not really liking it that much. But like other than that, I don't know, man. But I think the group that like has feelings for it very much outnumbers like me, like not being sort of indifferent to it, and I think that's the group that has these almost unrealistic expectations for it.
I think online I've seen a lot of people who just want everything and they want everybody in it. But what I've heard mostly from people that I know who I usually talk to about movies, like in my personal life, they're all like, yeah, if like Tobey Maguire's in it, and they throw in like just kind of a joke where he does something similar to like the sidewalk stroll scene that he does in Spider-Man 3 where he's like acting all cocky and stuff, and they're like, yeah, if Andrew Garfield's in it for like a few seconds, or I shouldn't say a few seconds, just a brief portion of the movie, like maybe just acknowledging that they're a part of the multiverse or whatever, then I guess that's all right. But then it opens up, if you put both those guys in it, it opens up this whole can of worms that just says, well, now who's not to say that just any Marvel movie that has ever come out ever cannot be a part of the multiverse of this MCU phase, you know?
I think that's what they want to do.
It's just too much.
They bought out Fox, and like, so they own all of those other movies, like the old X-Men movies, things like that. So I think that's what they want to do, and I think you hit it right at the end. Like, it is too much. Like, there are people who are like watching every single thing of Marvel. I am too tired.
It's just too much.
Yeah, I'm a casual fan. Like, I mean, I'll watch shows that seem interesting to me. Like, I'm gonna watch Hawkeye because that one seems cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm gonna watch the new Spider-Man movie, but like, I will not. I can't consume like everything they make anymore.
Right. To go back and
literally, I'm incapable.
To go back and watch everything, watch the Ghost Rider movies with Nicolas Cage, to watch all of the Blade movies, to watch Dredd, to watch if Charlie Cox is in the movie, you know, that's all of the canceled or removed Netflix movies. Well, I don't know, or not movies, shows. And I don't know if they were removed or just canceled, but like, that's Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, both the seasons, Daredevil, whether that was 2 or 3 seasons.
I almost want to say 4 seasons.
It could have been. And then the Defenders and just all the old movies and every... Then that also brings up, well, I guess like it'd be the same thing as Spider-Man, but like they had a different actor play the Hulk before, who was it? I can't remember his name. Oh my gosh. What's the actor's name?
For who?
The Incredible Hulk.
Edward Norton.
Well, Edward Norton, but who's the new one?
Oh, Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah. So that would mean that Edward Norton and, who is it? You literally just said his name. Oh my gosh. Ed Norton and Mark Ruffalo would be like Incredible Hulk, and they both exist in the multiverse. But that, you know, could already exist because I think Abomination is who it was in Shang-Chi, like in one of the fighting scenes. Just like, I don't know if it's just an Easter egg, but that he was the villain in the original Incredible Hulk, the one in 2008. So I mean, maybe that's them saying, well, you know, we're doing it. It's possible. But then, like, you also, like, they have to let us know where the stopping point is at. Like, is the old Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk TV show, is that canon? Is that an MCU, the multiverse?
Yeah, that's what I think it'll depend on, like, because, like, if they're like, oh, you have to have seen this movie to get it. Like, if they do that, I think we'll get a peek of that with the new Spider-Man movie.
But I think that's
like,
that's my thing too, is that they need to like release this information or something. Like to be like, to understand this movie, you need to have seen blank, 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 and blank.
Yeah, but when they do that, then it becomes a fucking full-time job.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
Nobody's gonna want to do that. Even the people who are like already obsessed.
You think? I think there'd be more people who are like upset if they go to see Multiverse of Madness, and both the Loki and WandaVision TV shows tie into it. And you go to that movie and there's so many plot points that you're missing just because you didn't know that you were supposed to watch these shows, you know?
I think if you do that, though, you didn't make a good movie, in my opinion.
I guess so, yeah. Like, you can't just go and see the movie and understand it. Or, like, if it's a series, like have seen...
at least, like, the movies before it, or, like, if there's a character, like, obviously you're going to want to see that show before. But they've started doing, I think it's probably on Disney Plus, like this Marvel Legends, I want to say it is, where it's like, it tells you like, hey, this is this character, this is what they've done before. And it's like, oh, okay.
That's kind of cool.
Because they did that, I think it was when Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, they did it with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, plus like Zemo, one of the other villains, and like Sharon Carter.
Okay, cool.
And it's like, yeah.
Well, yeah, so, I forgot. That's what happened to me during Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, Anthony Mackie, Falcon, was, like, talking like he knew her, and I was like, I don't remember ever seeing Sharon Carter ever in my life. And then I read somewhere that she was in Civil War, and I was like, it's been a very long time since I've seen Civil War. Like, probably in theaters.
Yeah, but I think going forward, like for me at least, like I'm just going to, if I'm interested, I'll watch it. If I'm not, I will not.
I think that's probably a good idea.
Because I did that. Especially starting with these TV shows. I think it was WandaVision was what set it off. And
yeah, I remember you talking about it.
I watched it. I was like, this is boring, and I don't like either of these characters, so I am not going to watch. And then the same thing with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then I watched Loki because I liked Loki. So.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
think the casual viewership, in my opinion, is the better way to go. But
yeah,
I know there's still people out there who are gonna go crazy watching everything.
They just put out like a roadmap for Disney Plus Day or something, like a bunch of shows that they're releasing, and I'll probably move towards the point where you're at, where it's like, well, not all of this intrigues me, but there's certain, like Ironheart. That one looks really cool. I've seen some of the ideas about it. It's like a female Iron Man. I can't. Oh, She-Hulk. That one looked interesting. Moon Knight. I didn't know. I thought that was going to be a movie, but I think it's a TV show. That's got Oscar Isaac. That one will be good. And then there was a few of them that just like don't look that good to me. Like they're playing off of the What If Zombies.
The worst episode of that show, by the way.
Yeah, it really wasn't that. I was excited for it, and I thought it seems like a good story, but just for like one episode, I was like, this isn't really like all that intriguing. It's just all the Avengers turn into zombies and nobody can stop them. So, like they have to find a cure or something. I don't know. But I didn't think that was all that great. I might not watch that. They put out that roadmap. We spent a long time talking about all this Marvel stuff, but I mean, I know for me at least, and I think also for you, because I know we've talked about it before, it's just been brewing for so long, because we're like, this movie is either going to be an insane hit that's going to top all of the past movies except for maybe Endgame, because it's kind of got the similar like everybody's here idea, or it's just going to flop and it's going to be worse than the critics reviewed Eternals.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing when you do these big movies, because it's like, I'd say Endgame and then Infinity War definitely is up there too, of like, I think the Spider-Man movie is like close to that in scale. And
Yeah,
like when you take that big of a swing, you're gonna have either a big hit or a huge miss.
right.
So I think, I don't know, they haven't screwed up that badly yet. So I don't think this will be the exception.
Yeah,
But
I don't think it will either, especially being Superman, Jesus. Spider-Man. They're both kind of, I guess, big characters for their respective companies, but yeah, I don't think Spider-Man could be a flop, even if they really. It probably could be if they really, really tried. They just made a real stinker of a Spider-Man movie, like they're
yeah,
trying
well,
to
it
make
would
it bad.
depend on what your definition of a flop is. Like, I mean,
Not a
monetary, like they're gonna make billions no
yeah.
matter what. But like, if the movie is bad, is more what I'm thinking as a like flop or failure in this case, and like
I
that
guess
would mess
that's
up a lot.
yeah. I guess that's kind of how you got to think about it, because like you said, everybody's gonna go see it, so it's obviously gonna make money. But is it gonna be good for $8-9 movie ticket or whatever you have to pay wherever you're at?
I was gonna say, you're you're still being from a small town and showing things.
Yeah, yeah. Go see it at a matinee for like $5. No,
Yeah.
I'll probably go see it like that opening weekend, but I think it'll be good.
Mhm.
Talking about star-studded casts and kind of bigger casts, Red Notice just came out. I think it was either this last week or 2 weeks ago. That one is apparently an in-theater and on streaming release.
Mm,
And critically, it looks like it got kind of poo-poo reviews. 6.5 on IMDb, 38% Rotten Tomatoes. But I mean, everybody that I've seen post about it seemed like they liked it. And there's like just little funny jokes. I think it's mostly, if it's a star-studded movie, I steer away. Like if it's mostly like all the main characters are stars, and it's like a brand new movie, not known, like not an MCU thing or an established kind of movie, I'll steer away. But if Ryan Reynolds is in it, like he's just a funny guy, so I'll usually
yeah,
go see it.
I think he's fallen, and it's funny because he's in this movie too, but he's fallen into the Rock syndrome, where
Where he's
he does not play a character in a movie. He plays Ryan Reynolds, just like the Rock is always the
The
Rock
Rock.
in every movie he plays.
Yeah, I could see
He-
that. Yeah,
yeah,
I guess the only movie I don't think of him as that is Deadpool, just because the first one I feel like was kind of before he was in all these movies.
but I mean, even that, it's sort of like the
He's like,
same. Like he's a snarky guy who's a like trained killer, right? Am I getting Red Notice right? Like,
I think he might be the same. I haven't seen it. I've just seen like little snippets where people are like, "This movie is hilarious. Ryan Reynolds is killing." Like one of them was, it was him and Dwayne Johnson are in hairnets for some reason. I don't know why. And Ryan Reynolds has just turned to him. He's like, "Why do you have a hairnet on? You're bald." Which I'm like, yeah, it's kind of funny, like observational comedy. Yeah,
yeah,
just
but I
kind
don't
of.
know. Yeah, I don't know. It's very much. It seems like a popcorn movie, you know.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what it is. Yeah, I can't think of the last one that I saw that was really like it, but I know what you mean, where people just kind of watch it. It's got big stars in it. There's some funny one-liners, and you're not going to be like really upset that you watched it.
Yeah,
'Cause-
it's just it. Yeah, it goes by. You're like, yep, and then you're done. Like you don't think about it at all
right.
after.
Yeah, nobody's going to be talking about Red Notice at any of the award shows this year.
Nobody's going to be talking about Red Notice in like 2 weeks. Like
You're probably right. Yeah.
that's just the life cycle of it, especially when it comes to streaming right away. Which that's been really weird. Which I feel like has made a big rise this year. Is like the simultaneous release type
Oh,
thing.
I feel like this is like the only time we talked about it a little bit last episode, but I feel like this is like the only time I've ever seen it ever. I've ever really noticed it. I guess Tick Tick Boom is the only like big one where I'm really having a problem with. Am I gonna see it in theaters or am I just gonna stay and watch it at home? Because it's not an action movie or anything, but it's got music in it, so I would kind of like to have that better audio experience that you get from a movie theater.
Yeah, I forgot that one was theaters and streaming. Because I was at theaters a week early too.
I think it's this week, unless it came out last weekend. But
no, it did. It came out last weekend in theaters, but it's Netflix this Friday.
Week. Oh, okay, well, I won't be seeing it in theaters. I'm going to see Ghostbusters this weekend, dude.
I
this boy. This wait, really? You got okay? No. I guess I've been. Go ahead.
I've seen ads it's Paul Rudd and like Finn Wolfhard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about all I know. Because also I've never seen any of the original Ghostbusters.
Okay, well that's why I think I want to go see it so bad. Is this is one of the few movies that our father Dave Johnson has like ever seen, and it was one of those movies where like I was a kid, I would start watching it in the living room because it was just on a TV, probably on Spike TV or one of those channels where it's like 4 hours long, but it's like an hour and a half movie and then 2.5 hours of ads for whatever reason. They were always bad about that, but anyway, it was one of those movies where I'd be watching it and I was probably like halfway through the movie and I was like, this is a good movie. And Dad would just walk in and he'd be like, oh, are you watching like Ghostbusters? Are you watching Rocky? It was Ghostbusters, Rocky, and Back to the Future were the only 3 movies I think I ever remember that happening. And you know, Dad, he's never like inside watch TV type of guy. He's probably out in the machine shed, or he's out in the field, or asleep in his chair. But that's one of the movies where he would like sit in the living room with me, and we both watch it wherever he came in at until the end of the movie. And he'd be like, "Yeah, this is like one of my favorite movies. One of the few movies I ever watched." And I was like, "Yeah, you really haven't seen many, have you?"
No, yeah. Dave, for the uninformed, Dave Johnson is probably one of the last people on this planet not addicted to a smartphone.
Oh,
to
true.
Be quite honest.
Yeah, he's still got his flip phone and he'll text, but most of the time he calls, and I kind of like that. To be honest, I like to call Mom and Dad because I don't really mess with texting all that much. I don't text that much. I don't really use Snapchat all that much. I usually call.
Starting to think I'm more separate in age than you than 2 years now.
I get told that all the time, man.
There is nothing less convenient and more annoying than a phone call.
There's so many people who've told me that, especially like in the past week, because I was just talking with one of the guys I work with. I'm like, yeah, I'll usually try and text one of our bosses, but then I forget that he doesn't text, so I'll just call him, and he'll be like, yeah, I really hate that, man. Phone calls are just so inconvenient because, as he put it, usually when you get a phone call, it's something that could be relayed in text anyways, which I will say sometimes happens. I can understand that. And then usually you end up getting onto a real long tangent. And what could have been a text that you replied to in 2 minutes turns into a half an hour to an hour long phone call.
Yeah, this is... Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say sometimes, like I understand that sometimes. Like if I'm at work and I get a phone call and it's from like somebody who I know will talk to me, I'm usually just like, hey, I'm at work, you know. Because obviously you don't want to be on a real long phone call at work or somewhere important. But most of the time, if I get a phone call or make a phone call, I'm at home or somewhere where I can take the call. And I don't know, it's kind of nice to have that level of communication.
Yeah, well, see, I agree with you there, but here are my two big things against phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Is one, most of the personal ones, like, if I get a call, like, usually... or not usually, I guess, but there are times where it'll be like during, like I'm in class or I'm at work.
Sure.
And then I have to have this choice between, okay, do I answer this call now and miss what I'm learning in class or miss like what I'm doing at work and like leave my homie here to do my job for me for a few minutes? Or do I blow off this usually like friend or family member and like have to have that there?
I get that.
And
Yeah.
then two, the other thing is making phone calls. Is that all right? If I make a call, like let's say to like my boss, because that was an example you gave,
Yeah.
then like I don't want to feel like I am intruding on his like free time or whatever he's doing, you know? Whereas if I send a text, it's now my boss's own terms. They choose like when to respond to it and everything like that. So it's like it's less pressured, I think,
I
is the
get
big
that.
thing.
Well, I think it's just all about having that balance of knowing like what's important and needs to be made in a phone call and what can be like in a text. Like
Yeah,
I guess most of the time work stuff, I'm kind of on that same page. I usually won't call my boss. There's usually just specific people that I'll call because most of the time the stuff that I send to other people just doesn't really have that much of meaning to me. I'm just like, hey, I'm gonna be a little late, or hey, I'll be coming early, or are we still doing this, or whatever, for work or for something that's not really that important. But if I like my dryer wasn't working this week, so I called mom once and I called dad once, I think, during the week, just because I was called mom to let her know that it happened and see if she like had any solutions, and she's like, just hang your clothes up and like use a fan. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then that like spirals into, I shouldn't say spiral. Spiral is usually a bad thing, but it like kind of, well, snowball's bad too. It turns into it turns into like a nice conversation. I hear what she's been doing since the last time I called her, and she'll ask me like about how life's been going and stuff. So it's kind of nice to catch up with people like that in a phone call. But there is also people who are like, don't call me, I just want to text. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. Just let it be known if you're a non-phone, because there's also people I know who just like, and I think it's like when you're fresh out of college or fresh out on your own, just because you haven't had to do it before. And especially with us, like right now, for example, like now you can do DoorDash. When you want to order food, you just push buttons and say leave it. You just type in and you say leave it at my door. I hate human contact, and then they'll just drop your food at your door. Whereas like back in the day, before we had smartphones and stuff, you had to call in and order food or order for a pickup and talk to somebody and all that. But I mean, I get it. Like if you're calling for a doctor's appointment and you've never like called or anything, you don't know if you need a credit card, your insurance. You need to let them know like what's going on, who your doctor usually is, and like some of that stuff. Like a lot of times when I used to make my phone calls for the first time, like to a doctor's office or like getting a home loan or an auto loan, they would ask me for stuff, and I'd be like, I don't know.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's like going back to what you said about that conversation with mom. Like in another perspective, you could be like, oh, I needed to figure out this fix for a dryer that could have taken 5 minutes, and suddenly I was on the phone for 45 minutes
Mm,
and I have no time to dry my clothes anyway. I have to go to work.
yeah, it's a
But
well. In that situation, it turned. I didn't call her until later that day because I usually like I'll put my clothes, I'll wash them, and then I'll put them in the dryer at like 9 right when I go to bed because I get up early for work, and then I'll wake up to warm clothes. Well, I woke up to wet clothes, and I'll wake up where I have like 20 or 30 minutes to do everything in the morning because that's how long it takes me.
fair
So
enough.
so now I had to take a hair dryer, dry off my clothes as much as possible, wore damp clothes to work, and then once I just had a break in the day, I just called mom, and I had plenty of time. So again, it's just like that. Like obviously, I'm not saying that you're saying like phone calls are just horrible to take whenever. I know that you also know that it's just like knowing the right situation when it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, that's the big thing. Is like, yeah, because I'll have no problem like calling mom or dad because like I mean
What
that's
are
mom
they
and
doing?
dad, you know. Exactly. But like somebody where you like don't know them as well,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
always text.
Yeah, I get where
Always text.
I don't always, but I do get where you're coming from. I definitely believe it's much easier to be the call receiver than the call giver. Because if you're receiving a call, you can always just pick up the phone and be like, oh, like I'm busy right now, or like whatever situation that you're in. Whereas if you're calling somebody, you have no idea what situation they're in. They could be running to catch a flight gate, and they've got 1 minute, and you're calling asking them to look for notes on something in one of your classes, and so they have the conundrum of a choice to either dig out their notes and give you the notes really quick, take a picture and send it, or run to their plane that they're almost gonna miss. Not always that tense of a situation, but
I know. I was gonna say that's kind of an extreme example.
But yeah, maybe they're in the middle of eating or on the pot or something.
Yeah, I was about to disagree with you big time, but then you made that last point. You saved it.
I heard you trying to.
Yeah, because right when you said that, I was like, "Oh, hold on a minute, play on it," but I was gonna come in, but
yeah,
that's kind of true.
How did we get? Oh yeah, talking about Ghostbusters.
What a bit of a long trail.
We kind of got off on that, but yeah, I'm excited to go see it because it's one of those few movies where it's like played off of something I knew as a kid. So it'll be nice to see if they I think they brought back a lot of the people who had, or maybe not a lot, but a few people who had something to do with the original trilogy. I think Dan Aykroyd is supposed to be in it. Just like as a cameo, so that'll be kind of cool to see.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like how they bring all these franchises back.
Yeah, to me, there's a big difference between like bringing something back and trying to do the original justice, maybe trying to pull in some cameos, and then and maybe kind of trying to play off of the same idea that they had in the original series, or whether it was just one original movie, and just bringing something back and maybe doing a remake, or even just like trying to do a completely different idea and just throwing all the original stuff aside and just saying we don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, it's sometimes it's just a hard like decision to make on if you want to go see these things that are being remade, or just anything that's a play off of an old idea, you know.
Yeah, people get too pessimistic about these, man.
Right. Yeah.
Like
I think
they're so like wanting to bring, like they're like, oh, this is gonna ruin this one for me, and it's like, well, you could just watch the original again and pretend this one doesn't exist, and your life would be literally the same.
I think the most pessimistic and like biggest one that sticks out to me, just because I had so many people around me that talked like this, was Incredibles 2.
Oh, true. This
was
like our generation's closest thing to like a big nostalgic comeback so far, I think, to be honest.
It was just so many like negative, like people were like this movie better be good. I better like this movie. And people going like, if there's just like kids screaming in the theater while I'm there, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna punch them in the face. I'm gonna punt them across the movie theater until they're quiet. And I'm like, you realize that this is a children's movie, correct? Like, I understand the original came out when we were kids, and they're probably playing off some of that nostalgia, but it's a movie mainly for kids. Like, it's targeting children. Like, yeah. I'm not going to say that any adult who went to go see it was wrong, because I went to go see it. Because it is a movie that, like, the original came out when we were kids, so I was like, oh, it'll be cool to go see this. But obviously, if there's kids screaming in the theater, or, like, I don't love it all that much, I'm not going to freak out and say that it was a terrible movie or something. I'm going to say, yeah, I didn't really care for it, but, I mean, I understand that I'm not the target audience. It's like,
yeah.
Like an episode of SpongeBob, I feel like, in the sense where I expected it to be a movie or movie or TV show, if we're talking about SpongeBob, where it's mainly targeting this younger audience, but there's gonna be things like for me where I'm like, oh yeah, like I get that. Like
Yeah, that's actually another one that it's like people are like they'll tweet like clips from new episodes. I guess I don't know why they advertise on Twitter because that's SpongeBob. I feel like is like explicitly a kids thing, whereas Incredibles 2 was like still
yeah,
trying to appeal to sort of a more mass audience.
I
But
get that.
with those, like I feel like it's a monthly occurrence. I see like some clip of SpongeBob, and it's like I don't like it obviously, and
Right.
like but somebody like retweets and is like, dude, like they're ruining SpongeBob, and it's like they aren't ruining SpongeBob. You grew up and kids' senses of humor changed.
Yeah,
Like
I think that's a big thing. I shamefully kind of used to be in that group of people who I like. I feel like it was probably when I was still in high school, when I was getting towards the end, maybe junior or senior year, just getting older, and I would see clips of it every once in a while. I'll be like, damn, SpongeBob kind of sucked now. Like, this does not look like a very good show. But then you come to that realization where you're like, well, it's been like 10 years since I've actively watched SpongeBob. And obviously, like, pop culture has changed. Kids' senses of humor, like you said, have changed. Social media, even. Like when I was younger, it was Facebook and Twitter, and now, like, TikTok is this huge thing.
mm-hmm.
So, like, obviously there's different senses of humor on there than like Vine had or stuff like that. So
Yeah,
TV shows and movies and entertainment just in general are obviously going to evolve as like kids or adults or whatever their target audience is, their sense of humor or like way they look at the world change. So they have to change with it.
you know which one I was most guilty of being a big like pessimist, like hating on big time?
What's that?
Toy Story 4.
Really?
I was such a hater,
Well, I still haven't
actually,
seen
for
it,
no reason.
I guess.
I don't like the movie.
Yeah.
But it was like obviously now it's like, oh, okay, this is just for a different generation than me. But like, but when that happened, I was like, 3 was like such a good ending and like all this stuff, and it's like, man, like you don't have to like everything.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Well,
is more of the conclusion I came to, I guess.
yeah, I think that's the right conclusion to come to, where there's the two completely different like schools of thought that you can be in. The one where you and me just admitted that we've been in before, where you go and see something where it's you're probably not the main target of it, and you're just like freaking out about it, or like if someone like asks you about it, you just totally like go off on it and like shit on it and just say it's this terrible piece of media. Or you can have that other conclusion that you eventually come to, where maybe you get older, or you just like kind of calm down after seeing the movie or whatever, and you're just kind of like, you know what, I guess I didn't like it, but it's not really mainly targeting me. Like, it's not made explicitly for me. It's made for this other group of kids, even though maybe however many years ago there was an original made when I was a kid. Obviously, like, the team on it has probably changed, the world has changed, so obviously, like, the final product is going to change, and I'm cool with that. It's just not for me, you know. I didn't enjoy it all that much.
There are some of them though, like that Lightyear movie coming out, man.
You don't care for that?
Know. Well, because like that one, it feels like is explicitly targeting like people who have seen them and like already have the nostalgia for
Sure.
like Toy Story.
It seems like overly complicated to me. The idea I grasped from it is that Buzz Lightyear is a fictitious toy that is based on a fictitious astronaut that they are creating a fictitious movie on. So it's just like there's just too many layers to it, I guess.
That's what I was just gonna say, was how many layers deep do you get before you realize what you're doing is like utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, I love cake, but give me a 50-layer cake. That's just too much cake.
Well, because he's a astronaut that's not real, but in this not real universe, he was real. I think. And then this toy was based on him and his real career. But the toy is not.
The toy's not.
I think we're giving this too much credit.
Well, what I understood, because I watched the trailer, I thought there was like aliens and everything. So I was assuming that it's a not real astronaut who had like a not real movie made around him and had a not real toy.
Well, I personally think that this is like in this not real universe, a real thing that happened to these fictional people. But
we're digging a huge hole here.
God, yes.
We'll just have to wait. We'll have to wait for a movie. Keep an eye out for Lightyear. You can call us out on it. I guess. I think from what I understood in the trailer, it's either he's a fake astronaut who went after aliens, or he's either a real astronaut and apparently aliens are canon in the Toy Story universe. You know.
We'll find out which one of us is right, Dan.
We will.
Because you seem to be in the camp that you think that there are 2 layers of fake.
Yeah.
I think there's a bottom layer of fake and a little bit of real frosting on top.
Yeah, you're saying there's a real astronaut, but there's this toy that was made off of it.
Well, he's not a real astronaut to
A
us.
real astronaut to the Toy
Story people. He is a real astronaut, which they based a fake toy off of.
Yes. And I'm saying there's the extra layer of fake, where he's a fake astronaut.
Exactly. When that comes out, it's a freaking Disney Plus thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. We've got way too many layers of fake. Let's get back to something real. I need to get grounded again, where I'm gonna just like start questioning mortality. The NBA is a real thing. Nikola Jokic shoving I thought almost killing one of the Morris brothers was real.
Dude, this is so silly.
I don't know if he flopped or not. It was hard to tell. But I feel like also at the same time, which one was it? Was it Marcus or Markieff?
Let me find out real quick.
But okay, while you look, the backstory of this pretty much is Nikola Jokic, a player for the Denver Nuggets. He was, I think he was dribbling down the floor. He was driving down the floor, and I think he went to make a pass, and whichever Morris brother it was fouled him pretty hard. I would say it wasn't a play on the ball, and then he had his back turned to Jokic. And Nikola Jokic just absolutely looked like with like all of his force just shoves this dude, and he falls to the ground, and you could tell he's like okay because he's like he didn't get right back up, but there was movement and everything, you know. But
which Morris brother got choked?
Like the Miami Heat obviously started coming at Nikola Jokic, and then the Nuggets come out to protect him, but it was a pretty big deal for. I don't think it's still. There's probably a little bit of rumblings yet, but like the week that it happened, it was pretty big.
Yeah, it was just last week. So I mean, we're not exactly striking while the iron's hot, but maybe while it's like
it's
warm,
still it's sizzling in the water yet.
But it was Markieff, which
Markieff. Okay,
but
and I know Marcus kind of went off.
My favorite part has been the aftermath. Have you seen the Jokic brothers Twitter account?
I haven't seen. I like saw that there was tweets, but I just didn't look that far into it because I assumed it's like a fake account, like one of those fake accounts that happens after something big happens. Like there was a rat in an AMC theater eating popcorn or something, and someone made an account that was just rat that was eating popcorn and minding his own business in the AMC theater, and he only has one tweet, and it says, "Man, I was just minding my own business trying to watch a movie," and that's it. So I assumed it was like one of those accounts.
No, brother, it's real. It was followed by like numerous sports journalists.
Oh my gosh!
But this saga continues, Dan. There's so much more than that.
Is it really?
Because the first Jokic brother account got locked.
Oh no!
And so then they now just made a new account, and let me see some of the. Let's see. First, a tweet at Markieff Morris. Next time, you should take full responsibility for your actions instead of blaming it on us. You will see what is coming for you. Jokic brothers. They sign it, of course. And next, to Marcus Morris. Please private message me as soon as possible. I am looking for answers. The longer it takes, the worse it will be for you. Jokic brothers. The next one. This one, all capital letters. So they mean business here. Tell your team to never touch my brother again. It is the last and final warning I am giving. There was a little period in between those sentences.
Oh my gosh.
So notice the pause.
Give it
and then, of course, they sign it Jokic brothers.
Yeah, you gotta let them know.
And the most recent one, I believe, is it's Marcus Morris tweets, Mama said don't talk on social media no more. There you have it. Love you, Mama. And he was assuming going to stay out of this. And Jokic brothers quote tweets this. Says, Mama not tell me. Meet me November 29th, 2021.
Oh, that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be on a recording day.
That is going to be on a recording day.
Beautiful. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled and our ears open.
Well, here's the thing, though, is the account has been dormant since November 11th, so...
They're cooking something.
Well, my prediction more is they got bored and they weren't getting social media attention, so they gave up.
Yeah.
And they're done.
I get that. Yeah, it was just... I don't know. He definitely overreacted, but I also think it's kind of on Markieff for not expecting retaliation. So I think he kind of flopped into it, but... I think my favorite part about it was, like, right after it happened, Tyler Herro took a couple of steps, like he was about to do something, but then he just kind of stopped. Like, he started walking towards Jokic before any refs got there or anything, and what most likely happened was he probably just had, like, clarification of mind, and he was probably like, oh, I shouldn't do anything or I'm going to get in trouble. But what I like to imagine was he just saw this dude who's got to have, like, 6 inches on him and... like 100 pounds, and he's just like, bad idea. We're going to stay out of this one, Tyler.
Talked himself out of it.
Jimmy Butler, I think, got fined, too, because I think he was like...
He was
being Jimmy Butler.
They wanted them to meet them, or the Heat, I should say. I just kept using them, which... The Heat wanted the Nuggets to meet them in the hallway. You know, the place that has security all the time.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's what it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. What a dumb idea.
Like, security was just, like, waiting outside the Heat's door while they were in the locker room. They're like, yeah,
they
like,
went there because they knew that was what they wanted to do. They made it fairly obvious.
Wasn't there a big thing a few years ago that there was, like, tunnels in the Clippers...
when Chris Paul first went to the Rockets, he was starting some shit with the Clippers, and there was like something about some tunnels.
Yeah.
Like only the players knew about it. It's like there's always a good few stories in the NBA every year that it's like, what the hell, man?
I like to imagine that they just have like fight nights. If guys like get into it on the floor, they're just like, let's go meet at the tunnels after the game. We'll settle this. Nobody knows. Doc Rivers goes down there with his son Austin, and they eat popcorn and watch the fights, but. That's it.
Austin can't fight.
No, he watches.
Doc says, no, buddy. You stay here with me. We can watch.
Austin got into a fight one night, and he tried to tell a guy to meet him in the tunnels, and Doc pulled him out of the arena before he could do anything.
I don't know how this sort persona got, like, impressed on Austin Rivers, that, like, he's just Doc Rivers, like, little mama's boy.
Yeah, this daddy's boy.
But it's so funny. It's so funny.
He's just this guy, Austin. The Clippers are down by like 10 in the last minute, and Austin's right next to his dad on the bench, like tugging on his sleeve. He's like, "Dad, put me in. I can go hit a few threes, make some good defensive stops.
We're up by 20, whatever." Then he freaking waves him in.
Austin, he's sitting behind the 3-point line, like he hasn't played any defense in the last minute. He's just been sitting there for the last second shot. He's like, "Guys, pass it to me." And we'll say Kawhi's bringing it up the floor. He looks over at Doc, and Doc's like, "You better pass it to him." They're up by 20. He just wants the last shot, and he shoots a 3-pointer and just doesn't hit anything. And he's like, "Oh, so close, right, Kawhi?" And Kawhi's like, yeah, yep, sure, buddy. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
they all have to be
yeah.
nice to him.
They get in the huddle and Doc's like, all right, we run 3-2 man. We run shoelace and pass the ball to Austin. All right. And then he just does that when he calls the play.
They have a play that's Austin cannot he can't remember any of the plays, so they just have a play called Austin, where it's he can only call it when they're up by 20 or more points, and it's just they pass Austin the ball and he can do whatever he wants with it.
Yeah, and Austin like calls the play and he does it by like clapping his hands. He's like, "Hey, right here, come on, pass to me."
He's standing in the corner just doing that. Oh, I hated that when I would play for my 2 years in junior high and 1 year of JV basketball my senior year, because
your illustrious career.
I did speech every other year, and I was like, I want to play basketball, and then didn't realize that I'd probably be not playing varsity. That was a fun year though. A lot of practice, scrimmages, shooting 3-pointers all the time. Wasn't too bad. My illustrious career.
You should have gotten in a fight, and I could have made an account like the Jokic brothers did.
Manson, Northwest Webster. You better meet the Johnson brothers in the parking lot after the game this Friday.
And then we sign it, Johnson brothers. After every tweet, we have to make sure.
Gosh.
Yeah, I just don't think it's fascinating people who like don't use social media and then like for some reason start to use it. And that's exactly what's happening with this Jokic brother.
Right, yeah. I don't know. You can capitalize off of it, make some merch, you know?
They probably will. I would not be shocked.
That's what we're going to do.
I wonder what Nicola's perspective is. Like, is he like, yeah, let's keep going, guys? Or is he like, oh my God, my brothers are so embarrassing?
I think he's probably... I guess I don't know, because I never saw him as a confrontational guy. But then, just after this thing and seeing him in, like, the post-game interview, where he's like, yeah, I probably overreacted. I shouldn't have done that. But he did foul me, and I was not going to let him get away with that. It was like a mob hit or something. He's just at the post-game interviews. He's like, he came in here. He pushed me. I probably shouldn't have done anything, but if I let him push me around, my family is going to fall to pieces. So we're going to have to take action.
That's what really solidifies it, is the family comments.
Yeah.
That's very mob energy.
It's, mob and Fast and Furious.
Right.
Just walking around talking about family for the whole game. He's probably like, I love basketball. But the one thing I love more than basketball, family. Now let's go eat some spaghetti. I don't know what the equivalent. Let's go drink some vodka. That's probably the equivalent. Correct.
He's not Russian.
What is? I thought he was like Serbian.
That's what it is. Well, yeah.
Isn't that like Russia? I don't. Yeah. I'm terrible with geography. I'm really bad with it.
Yeah, you better walk this back, brother.
I'm gonna walk this back.
But I have no idea. I actually do not know.
I'm pretty sure Nikola Jokic. Nikola Tesla. Serbian professional basketball player.
There it is.
I would just need to figure out where Serbia's at. Now I'm gonna do a bunch of research and
homework. Pretty much Russia.
Like everything. It's got to be, right?
You might not have been that far off, actually.
Yeah. I'm thinking I'm pretty close. I'll watch some more NBA. Kind of been lacking this year.
It's a good season, man. Bulls are up. Who knows what can happen? Anything is possible.
Anthony Edwards said the very confusing comment to me about how he's happy that LaMelo Ball can get Rookie of the Year because he's got his eyes set on MVP. So I thought to myself, well, if you're not the best rookie, how can you be the best NBA player? Couldn't wrap my head around
very flawed logic, Dan.
Well, that's just what I was thinking, because I was like, well, obviously, like, everybody wants to be MVP. So it was just kind of a weird thing to me to say, where he's like, yeah, I don't really care about Rookie of the Year. I want MVP. I would think you'd have both in your sights. You'd be like, man, I really want to be MVP, which means I would also, respectively, like, be the best rookie. So I'd be Rookie of the Year.
Sure, but I mean, how many MVPs won Rookie of the Year? Because it's honestly not that many.
Well, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna prove you wrong. How many
Right.
MVPs won Rookie? Man, I'm afraid it's just gonna give me this category of like players who have won both MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season.
I think that's a non-existent category.
Oh, no. It's one of those very, like, fantasy categories. Chamberlain won it in 59-60. Wilt Chamberlain. See, so the 100-point guy. I feel like that makes sense. And some guy named Wes Unseld in 68-69.
So pretty non-existent to us.
I don't think this is going to be possible to find. It's that stat that I just talked about. That's like the only one that's popping up is people who won Rookie of the Year and in like the same season. But I don't know. I feel like it's a larger number than you think, but maybe not.
I guess.
I don't know.
Well,
that
did.
Get on that.
Our time is about up here.
Yes, I was gonna say. I think we're a little bit over last week, but I mean, you know, yeah, I know, shocking. Hopefully, nobody gets too upset with that. Try to give you some more info on this episode, and we're gonna get screamed at for it. But for those of you who won't scream at us and love it, you know, that's amazing. We love the support. I can hear it now.
Well, we'll sign off, and of course, sign off with our signature, the only way we know how. Jokic Brothers.
Jokic. That's the sign off. Yeah, we'll see you Wednesday, Spotify and YouTube, Stuck at the Kids Table, every Wednesday from here on out. Signed, the Johnson Brothers.